From a home garage to a Bugatti owner, it was a rocky road of 12 long years that Mate Rimac had to pass, from owning a startup company in his home garage to finally becoming the first man ahead of a well-known company that produces sports cars. From inventing an iGlove, a device that replaced a keyboard and a mouse as a high school student, and a rear-view mirror system for avoiding a vehicle's blind spot called active mirror system, his love for engineering and testing the limits of what is possible led him to invent the Concept 1, first ever electric vehicle produced in Croatia. This revolutionary car, with the ability to go from 0 to 200 km per hour in just 6.2 seconds and a maximum speed of 355 km per hour, was just the beginning of a new era of electric vehicles that would change the car industry forever. But let's jump back to the past real quick. Mate has been crazy about cars his whole life, and that craziness got amplified by living in Germany at the time, watching all the car shows that led him to the decision to start his career in the car industry. The easiest way to do so was to start racing, and so he did at the age of 18. He always liked to read about, some might say his idol, Nikola Tesla, and was fascinated by his invention of the electric machine that is nowadays used in all the electric cars like the Porsche Taycan. However, he was always wondering why the electric cars that were coming out at a time weren't a bit comfier and good looking. Thanks to the old BMW's combustion engine that blew up very soon and left him with nothing to race with, he went to his garage and decided to build up an electric car that will show that his type of vehicles can be both fast and exciting and not just environmentally friendly. In the beginning, everyone made jokes about his car being a washing machine, and the fact that he brought electric car to the race was almost hilarious. But he continued to work on it week after week until he finally won a race with his invention in 2010, which was also the first time ever an electric car won against gas-powered cars in the same category. This car eventually became Rimac EM3, aka the Green Monster, and after continuously using it every single day, he kept learning about ways to make outrageously fast electric cars, and in 2011 broke 5 Guinness World Records with it, which was also grounding of his company, where he wanted to convert combustion engine cars to electric. In 2012, it put the Rimac on a technological map when he achieved 0 to 100 km per hour in just 3.3 seconds, making it the world's fastest accelerating electric vehicle. After giving it a greater thought, it wasn't hard to realize that this plan doesn't really make sense. Why implementing a new technology to the old shape and combined old with modern, rather just inventing something completely new? And that's how the idea of building a completely new car from scratch was born. Even though Rimac Automobiles was founded in 2009, it didn't have any employees until 2011. In 2010, Mate met Adriano Mudri, who was a designer in General Motors at the time, and made a deal to start developing a supercar together. So Rimac was in charge of technology and Mudri was going to do the design. After being denied and kinda made fun of at the University of Croatia, he then started to look for investors, which gave him and his co-worker a real pain in the neck. However, he was getting a lot of public attention because of his remodeled BMW. He caught an eye of a fellow Croatian man who was working for a Middle Eastern family who wanted to know more about the project they were working on. Rimac and Mudri have made a brochure for them to see, and shortly after they got a call from the family that requested to order 2 cars. as Rimac at the time had no real company, employees or other resources, he told the potential customers that he could not build the car. The customers offered to invest in Rimac's efforts to enable him to build a vehicle under one condition: to move the company to the Middle East. Even though he was struggling to pay salaries, rent and suppliers while trying to build the prototype of the Concept 1 and was in desperate need of money, Rimac decided to turn down the deal for the cost of losing his only investors. Looking back, he now says that it was the one best thing he has ever done, and his move let him keep his company in Croatia. In order to earn some money and to keep his project going, he then decided to start working for other automotive companies to develop batteries, electric powertrain systems or even full vehicles. In 2011, he managed to hire his first 10 employees, and the Concept 1 made its global debut as the world's first all-electric hypercar at the Frankfurt Motor Show. The car was built in 5 months by the initial team of only 8 companies' first employers. Despite that, during the next few years, Rimac was always on the edge of bankruptcy, having a hard time with attracting investors to put money into his company. However, after years of providing themselves to the industry, Rimac finally grew and eventually attracted investments from companies such as Porsche, Hyundai and Kia. Another great move that had a huge impact on a Rimac company is when he partnered with one of the most luxurious car companies, the well-known Bugatti. In 2021, Rimac and Porsche announced that by the end of the year, Bugatti will become jointly owned by the two companies. Volkswagen, which at the time owned both Porsche and Bugatti, decided to transfer 45% of Bugatti shares into Porsche's control, while Rimac was on the control of the 55% of the new company called Bugatti Rimac. No matter how successful his company became year after year, there was still lots of struggles that he had to face. Now, let's go back to the Concept 1. The design of this supercar kinda reminds of Porsche, but the real secret of success is hidden beneath this beautiful shell. Under its sleek exterior, there are 4 liquid-cooled Perma-Mag electric motors, one at each wheel, that add up to over 1200 horsepower, being outrageously fast than anything a humankind ever drive before by the huge margin. It can accelerate from 0 to 100 km per hour in 2.8 seconds, with the potential of top speed of about 305 km per hour. Rimac reckons that on a fully charged, Concept 1 has a range of 600 kilometers. While giving a great compliment to Concept 1's engineers, this enormous speed is exactly what some should be concerned about. This was the worst time for the company because they had another fraud investor at the time, and Mate thought that company was going to die within 3 months if they don't get money. And because of that guy, they couldn't even get another investor for the next 12 months. The company was barely surviving month to month and were constantly late with salaries and suppliers, so Mate Rimac was sure that all of the employees would end up leaving the company. In the middle of all that mess, Grand Tour reached out and wanted to test the Concept 1, which was very risky because if something went wrong, it would mean the end of Rimac Automobiles. Luckily, the car was excellent. 5 days of testing may seem long for Mate, but hearing that everything was perfect was a great relief, but not for so long. I'm sure you've heard of Richard Hammond before, but his career is not the only thing he's nowadays famous of. Back in 2017, while filming an episode of an Amazon Prime motoring show and participating in a hill climb event in Switzerland, he was involved in an accident while driving the Rimac Concept 1 supercar. Only 1 hour after receiving a great news, Mate got a call and he was told about the accident. Luckily, Hammond remained calm and ended up with a fractured knee, but things could have been more serious if he hadn't stayed conscious and if the car hadn't been such a good quality. What happened was that Hammond was on his fourth and final run of the hill climb trail in St. Gallen. He approached a corner carrying far too much speed to adequately brake the vehicle, causing the rear tires of Rimac to lose traction and slide the car off the track. The car broke through a barrier on the corner and rolled over several times as it careened down the hill. Shortly after Hammond was removed from the Rimac, the wreckage burst into flames. Another problem was that exact car was a customer's car and that they were supposed to deliver it and get money for, and thanks to the car having insurance, everything went as good as it could. This horrible situation that could have taken one man's life turned out to be a great marketing, since the massive crash like this one is impossible to survive. However, the car was good and so was the driver, so all the media attention didn't really hurt Rimac, and looking back, it may have been the best thing that happened to the company. Few years after that, Rimac delivered its first car developed and manufactured for another automotive company, turning a profit just 3 years since its inception. The Concept One traveled around the world as the official race director's car for the Formula E Championship. Rimac completed its A round of funding and the company reached 100 people trademark. In 2015, Rimac has designed, engineered and manufactured the Rimac Tajima's e-runner for Nobushiro Monster Tajima for his mission to tackle the world's most famous mountain track, Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. The team achieved second best time ahead of the all-ice cars. In 2017, a new investment round opened by the Asia's largest battery manufacturer. Rimac then intensified their work on new projects for the global automotive manufacturers, and the dealer network expanded in 3 countries, with the employee counting more than 200 people. In 2018, as Porsche joined as a shareholder and a strategic partner, Rimac presents its next generation hypercar, the C2, at the Geneva Motor Show. As a part of ongoing expansion of the production facilities, Rimac has added 2 new research and development offices and hired even more people. After that, Rimac Concept 2 undergoes further engineering and testing, while Hyundai Motor Group becomes a shareholder and Porsche increases its stake in Rimac. Rimac continued to develop and deliver great components to Aston Martin, Cupra, Renault, Koenigsegg and many others, and the company continued to grow year after year. The Concept 2 was later named Nevera, named after quick, sudden and mighty Mediterranean storm that races across the open sea of Croatia, since a Nevera is extremely fast and charged by the lightning. As expected, the Nevera was designed and engineered to be even better and faster than the Concept 1. For the Nevera, Rimac has developed their own torque vectoring system where the traction is measured on every wheel 100 times a second. This then allows the car to apply the exact amount of torque or braking force to bring maximum performance. This model of Rimac can slow individual wheels to enable handling that should only be possible with a much lighter car. They also developed a new battery system with an H layout which allows them to pack more battery whilst keeping the weight distribution balanced, as well as keeping the same low roofline. The biggest upgrade was the cooling system, since Rimac uses a custom water cooling system to keep the batteries from getting too hot and reducing performance. The Nevera is now the world's fastest electric car with 1900 horsepower produced by 4 electric motors. The electric hypercar reaches 0 to 100 km per hour in just 1.85 seconds and 0 to 160 km per hour in just 4.3 seconds. Despite the company growing quickly and the production capacity increasing, Rimac decided to produce only only 150 Neveras. Nowadays, Mate Rimac is a founder and owner of two separate companies, the Bugatti Rimac, which is the hypercar company that focuses on creating incredible hypercars, while the other company called Rimac Technology put their focus on creating an incredible technology that is making its way to manufacturers' cars. A few years ago, Mate Rimac has announced that he will attempt to produce the world's fastest electric yacht, but hasn't mentioned it ever again, so we'll have to keep waiting on that one. Also, first ever Rimac Nevera is shipped to Nico Rosberg, the F1 champion, and full review can be seen on his YouTube channel. Mate Rimac is a proof that all your dreams come true with enough hard work and tons of patience. His next project that he wants to bring to life is the Rimac campus, which would have everything you possibly need to live and work, and the idea sounds out of this world.